guys, welcome to the Old Ultra Runner channel. I'm your host Jay Tynert, and today I want to do my race report on the 6-0 trail run that I did this past weekend. The 6-0 trail run is put on by Blaze Trails Running, which is a race organization in North Texas that is now putting on several races, different trail races in the North Texas area. The 6-0 trail run they first held in 2019. I ran it then. I did the half marathon. They actually hold 4 different distances. They have a 6 mile, a half marathon, a marathon, and a 50K. I chose the half marathon both in 2019 and this year because I really didn't want to run longer than that just because of the hot weather we have the first weekend in September still up here. They did not hold the race in 2020 due to COVID. So this was the first year back, and a lot of people were very excited to get back out there because the trails on this little private ranch in Cleburne, Texas are really nice, really beautiful. It's a real mixture. There's some single track, there's some double wide Jeep roads, there's you have some rocky sections, you have some nice flat grassy type sections. There's a pretty good climb toward the end. Anyway, it's a very nice course with quite a mixture of different terrain. My wife and I went out on Friday morning and we did volunteer. We helped set up for the race, so that involved setting up a lot of shade tents, staking them down, putting up aid station tables out at the aid stations, filling up water, carting that out to the aid stations, helping fix signage that we wanted to make it as crystal clear as possible. And there was actually even a little bit of signage that had been put out on Thursday that some cows out there had trampled down, so we had to repair that. But anyway, it was actually quite fun hanging out with the race directors, Chris and Ann, and then the other volunteers that were there on Friday, and getting to help out. It did get on Friday to 100 degrees Fahrenheit, or just over. And it actually was pretty tiring. I was pretty exhausted by the end of the day. We started at 9 in the morning, and I was working and helping out until 6 p.m. So I had thought some about spending the night on the ranch, but decided because of the heat that I was going to be better off getting a hotel. So my wife and I got a hotel about 15 minutes away in Cleburne, and we drove over there and spent the night. But man, I was exhausted. And I can feel it some on Saturday morning for the race. I do think that affected my race some, that in the heat. Saturday was not quite as hot as Friday, but it did get up to 98 Fahrenheit during the day. Now I was done earlier, so I never got to quite that heat, but I'm sure it was over 90 by the time I finished, and it was fairly humid as well. I had a pretty rough race, I think probably because I was tired from the day before and just really hadn't done a lot of training, high level of training, since the 100 mile or 4 weeks before, and other than that, just the heat. Anyway, I'm going to start off by just giving you a little bit of footage from just prior to the race and then the start of the half marathon.
Show the sunrise. You can see the trail.
Your course on this will be about a little over 13, about 13.6 miles. At least I hope. And it'll be right around 13 something.
I've done that. I'm right here.
So I'm going to tell you something. If that happens to you, ignore this one. This is a 50K sign. We'll get to that in just a moment. All right, I'm in. guard.
Well, at least they're not making us walk on that.
Yeah, that's definitely the best way to do it.
Oh yeah, it's supposed to be fine.
Oh, we're gonna go this way? All right.
Let's try to take that shortcut.
Well, I'll just get it deep in here. All right, round to 30 seconds. I'm tired already. Me too. Jay is.
How's your week? Very busy. Yeah. I keep trying off. I was wondering because I saw that you ran. Yeah. And I'm like, I was confused because that
I did a little bit real.
Okay, so now I'm just going to give some footage from out on the course, and I'll have updates in there. I hope you enjoy it. You will notice that there are less in the second half of the race as I became very tired. But I hope you enjoy it. Check in later.
Nice shaded area of the course. Okay, so I'm just heading into the Lakeside aid station, right around this corner. I will say I'm like 4.5 miles in. I would say the first 3 to 4 miles are definitely a little more technical than I remembered. I took one pretty good spill. I kind of caught myself in my hands, but I looked down later and my right hand was just covered with blood. I have a gouge at the bottom of my right thumb, but it's not bleeding anymore. Nothing that serious. Anyway, here we go. Good, but thank you.
good? Okay, turn left.
Hey, how's it going? Hi. And this is the lake we go around. Kind of pretty. The landowner told us it's call it a lake. They said it's about 50 acres. So it's not huge, but pretty good size on their little ranch. Overall, the 6-0 ranch, as I understand, is like 1,665 acres. It's usually used for equestrian riding, but they are allowing us to run some trail races on it. And it's a nice park. Nice trails on this ranch. So that's okay. We're gonna get it done. It just won't be real fast. This lake, the little lake we're going around, is really pretty though. apologize if the image quality is not great. I try to put a lens cover over my lens when I'm not running, but somewhere around the 3 mile mark I lost my lens cover, so it's been in my pack, and my lens may be a little sweaty. It may get worse as the race goes on, but we'll just see if the footage is usable. Probably can't see it, but out in the distance there's a little windmill that's pretty close to the Mountainside aid station we'll be going to. So we'll be climbing that mountain a little later. First we got to get around this lake back to the Lakeside aid station, and then we'll start heading toward that mountain and climbing up it. Get up that little mountain, then you come down it and head to the finish line. Okay, so I'm on what's called now the Coffee Pot Trail. I passed the Mountainside aid station. This little loop is only about a half mile, and then I'll be back at Coffee Pot aid station. That is being manned by a lot of my wonderful friends from DDR, the Dallas Dirt Runners. I am definitely feeling the 9 hours I spent out in the sun yesterday setting up. I'm only 9.5 miles into the race. And I'm getting close to the time I ran the whole course in 2 years ago. But oh well, it's okay. Still beautiful being out here, enjoying what's turning into mostly a hike. Still very pretty out here. Good seeing friends and getting some good heat training. They said it got over 100 yesterday, and they were predicting us to get over 100 today. So we'll see. I don't know how hot it is now. I know it's not that hot because we're still only a little after 10 in the morning. Anyway, I think I ran this 2 years ago. Kind of depleted and tired and worried about lifting up my feet. So anyway, that's all for now. I'll probably just check in again when I get close to the finish line. Bye. There we go, coming into the finish. I guess. I'm not doing this again.
Okay guys, so that was the end of the race. I just would like to give shout outs again to Blaze Trails for putting on a great race. I'd like to say there were awesome volunteers out there on race day, both at the start finish line and at the 2 aid stations out on the course. There were a lot of support from Fort Worth Runners Club members, from Denton area Runners Club members, and my home club, the Dallas Dirt Runners. And it was great seeing a lot of those faces out on the course. I did have a pretty rough race. I had the little fall early on in the race where I got the bloody hand, and a little later I just was tired all day, and then made a stupid rookie mistake. I passed the last aid station, around 9.5 miles at Mountainside, and I told him I had everything I needed, and I had everything, all the water and everything I needed, and then I reached back a little bit past the aid station and realized I only had a couple sips left. So the last 3.5 miles, I only had a couple little sips of water, and I was starting to have some leg cramps. So, but I did get through them. I just had to walk a little bit more. My time 2 years ago when I ran this race was 2 hours and 23 minutes, and that placed me in 18th out of 93 finishers. This year my time was 3 hours and 14 minutes, so I was 51 minutes slower, and I ended up 39th out of 80 finishers. You can tell the race was a good bit slower this year, I'm sure due to the heat. If I had run the 2:23 this year, I would have finished 6th overall instead of 18th that I did 2 years ago. And also, I ended up 39th out of 80. If I had done the 3:14 2 years ago, I would have finished like 70th. So it just shows that the times in general were a good bit slower this year. But no excuses, it was a lot of fun. I had a blast being out there, a lot of good folks, and it was great being out on the trails again. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked the video, please hit the thumbs up and give me a like. If you're interested in this sort of content, please consider subscribing to my channel, and keep moving.